back to Public Health Practice Gap, the podcast where we analyze the critical friction point between academic evidence and the operational realities of implementing public health strategy. I am your host, Dr. Fevrier, founder of NextGen Public Health Consultancy. In our last episode, we broke down the concept of the trust recession and explored how institutional legitimacy collapses from the inside out when human infrastructure is neglected. Today, we are moving one level deeper into the relational architecture of society. Trust does not exist in a vacuum. When trust is cultivated consistently over time, it creates something much larger, much more profound, and vastly more proactive, a true sense of belonging. As we unpack our modern landscape today, we are going to examine why belonging may be one of the most powerful and yet least measured determinants of health in modern society. Consider the central paradox of the 21st century. By every technical metric available, we have never been more connected as a global species. We can transmit data across oceans in milliseconds, broadcast our daily lives to millions instantaneously, and maintain continuous digital proximity to acquaintances from every stage of our lives. Yet, alongside this unprecedented explosion of digital connectivity, rates of loneliness, clinical depression, and social alienation continue to climb to historic highs. How can both of these realities simultaneously be true? How can a society be hyper-connected and profoundly isolated all at once? The answer lies in a fundamental diagnostic error we are making across healthcare, education, and organizational leadership. We have confused proximity with intimacy. We have assumed that building networks is the same thing as building community. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the belonging deficit because connection and belonging are not the same thing, and mistaking one for another is costing us our collective health. To bridge this gap, we must establish clear semantic boundaries around what belonging actually is, and more importantly, what it is not. In an era dominated by algorithmic optimization, institutions often fall into the trap of quantifying human relationships. We look at engagement metrics, click-through rates, attendee lists, and digital impressions. But let me be perfectly clear. Belonging is not visibility. It is not the size of an audience, the number of followers accumulated on a professional profile, or the volume of daily digital interactions. You can be the most visible person in a crowded corporate boardroom or a lecture hall and still suffer from an acute deficit of belonging. Belonging is an elemental psychological and sociological state. Belonging means being truly known by a group of people, rather than just being perceived. It means being explicitly valued for who you are, rather than merely being utilized for what you can produce. Most importantly, and this is the piece our highly efficient automated systems completely miss, belonging means being needed. It is a deep, stabilizing realization that your absence will be felt, that you have a specific role to play, and that you possess a secure place within a larger human collective. When systems fail to cultivate that environment, they are not building communities. They are simply managing crowds. This brings us directly into the heart of the loneliness paradox. We have built an entire social ecosystem around the concept of friction-free digital connectivity. We have eliminated the traditional boundaries of time and space to make communication effortless. Yet, this hyper-optimization has inadvertently contributed to unprecedented social isolation and community fragmentation. By stripping away the real-world friction of human interaction, the messy, unscripted face-to-face encounters that require vulnerability, we have replaced deep relationships with shallow transactions. The epidemiological data backing this up is no longer something we can ignore. There is a massive, rapidly growing body of peer-reviewed research linking chronic loneliness directly to severe physical and psychological health outcomes. Clinical data demonstrates that prolonged social isolation induces chronic inflammatory responses, elevates cortisol levels, accelerates cognitive decline, and increases mortality risk at a rate comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness is not merely a sad emotional state or a private affliction. It is a systemic public health crisis that is actively driving chronic disease profiles across the country. When we look downstream at the most complex system challenges facing public health today, we quickly realize that a staggering number of those are fundamentally rooted. Consider our current crisis in youth mental health, climbing substance abuse rates, declining secondary school performance, and skyrocketing chronic disease rates. Look at the unprecedented levels of workforce disengagement plaguing our healthcare and educational infrastructure. Historically, public health has treated these issues as isolated problems, requiring isolated behavioral interventions. We design a campaign to curb substance abuse. We implement a protocol to boost employee retention. We write a new curriculum to address student absenteeism. But if we trace these downstream outcomes back to the upstream source, we find the exact same vulnerability, a profound lack of social connection. A student who feels invisible does not skip school because they lack academic information. They skip school because they lack a sense of belonging. An employee does not burn out solely due to workload. They burn out because they feel completely disconnected from the community they serve. Many of our most critical public health outcomes are not individual behavioral failures. They are the predictable byproducts of broken human infrastructure. Before we pivot to the critical role of technology and look at whether artificial intelligence can truly heal this social divide, let us take a brief pause. If you value these deep dives into systems thinking and want to receive actionable weekly analysis on the future of prevention, I highly encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter, the Next Gen Public Health Brief. You can sign up, access our complete archives, and learn more about our strategic operations by visiting our home at nextgenpublichealthconsultancy.com. Let's return to the intersection of technology and human connection. As public health and healthcare leaders look at the sheer scale of the loneliness epidemic, the immediate temptation is to scale a solution using artificial intelligence and digital platforms. This requires a highly nuanced, critical discussion. On the positive side, technological platforms have undeniably democratized community formation. For individuals dealing with rare medical diagnoses or marginalized populations living in a geographically isolated area, digital spaces provide an unprecedented lifeline. Technology can drastically increase accessibility, bridge physical gaps, and offer initial layers of psychological support that would otherwise be entirely unavailable. However, we must confront the severe limitations of digital simulation versus authentic relationship. True belonging requires shared vulnerability, reciprocity, and a level of mutual investment that an algorithm simply cannot replicate. Technology is brilliant at scaling weak ties, broad, loose networks of superficial acquaintance. But public health resilience relies entirely on strong ties, the deep, stable relationships that can hold a community together during a crisis. An AI chatbot can simulate empathy and produce continuous responsiveness, but it cannot offer genuine human presence. If we allow automated interaction to replace authentic community, we are not curing the belonging deficit. We are merely anesthetizing it. This structural reality forces us to reevaluate the entire paradigm of modern health promotion. What if the failure of preventive public health has very little to do with the realizing of more health information and everything to do with systematically rebuilding environments that foster human connection? For decades, our prevention models have operated on an informational framework. If we give people the right idea, they will make the healthy choices. But data cannot heal a fractured social architecture. If healthy behavior emerges from healthy, integrated communities, then our primary job as public health strategists is to design and fund a social infrastructure. This means treating community spaces, peer support networks, civic organizations, and neighborhood-level programming not as optional, soft amenities, but as a core preventative health intervention. We must shift our design thinking away from individual behavior modification and towards structural human connection. As we close today's episode, I want to challenge you to look at your own organizations, your own health systems, and your own communities through this structural lens. Human beings rarely thrive in isolation. Our biology, our history, and our sociology prove that we are interdependent creatures. Healthy communities create healthy people, and true belonging is not a luxury or a sentimental idea. Belonging is foundational infrastructure, and it might well be the most overlooked form of prevention we have left out. To read the complete elaborate analysis of this week's topic, make sure to check out our latest edition of the Next Gen Public Health Brief. New episodes of this podcast drops every Tuesday. I am your host, Dr. Bradley Fevrier. Thank you for listening, and this has been the Public Health Practice Gap.